Howdy, Professor Williams. My name is Jackson Wheathorn, and this is my submission for the professional journal assignment. So when I got to college, I actually wanted to be an athletic trainer. That was the end goal. That goal very quickly changed, and now I'm a business major. But it has been something that's always interested me. I was a part of my high school football team, and we were constantly dealing with injuries. A lot of that was due to overtraining or improper training. And so something like the biomechanics behind sports has always been interesting to me. I didn't really understand it until I did a little bit of research once I got to college, once I was in school. But it's always been very fascinating to me. It's just the science behind movement and what that looks like, how improper training can really affect the outcome of an athlete's training. So anyway, with that being said, the article that I've decided to talk about today is titled "How Neuromuscular Training Improves Performance and Lower Extremity Biomechanics in Female Athletes." This was a study done by the Cincinnati Children's Hospital Research Foundation Sports Medicine Biodynamics Center and Human Performance Laboratory. This study was conducted by Gregory D. Meyer, Kevin R. Ford, Joseph P. Palumbo, and Timothy E. Hewitt. I'm going to link the article in the description of this video as well, so that if you wanted to check it out, you can. But anyway, with that being said, let me hop into the study. First, I wanted to read to you the hypothesis of the study. Also, I hope it's okay that I've got my notes right here. I don't want to misquote anything. But anyway, the hypothesis for this study was that significant improvements in measures of performance would be demonstrated concomitant with improved biomechanical measures related to anterior cruciate ligament injury risk. So basically, all of this was done to try to prevent ACL injuries. This whole study was done to see if they could prevent ACL injuries in athletes. And so how they went about this was that they had 53 high school girls, all average age of 15. They all played either basketball, volleyball, or soccer. And they took 41 of those girls and put them through a 6-week training program. And then 12 of the girls were part of the control, so they were not part of this program. They did the initial measurements with these girls, and then the conclusive measurements at the end, but they did not participate in the 6-week program. So what was this program, right? Let me pull that up right here. The program was conducted on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so 3 days a week, and each training session was 90 minutes. Tuesdays were 30-minute plyometric stations, 30-minute strength stations, and then a 30-minute core strengthening and balance station. Thursday, they had 30-minute plyometric station, a 30-minute speed station, and then a 30-minute strengthening and balance station. And then finally on Saturday, they did 2 stations, 45-minute speed station and a 45-minute strength station. All of the girls were instructed to do 15 minutes of stretching after this. It wasn't anything in particular. They got to do it like a self-guided stretching routine. They also had them do warm-ups prior to these sessions, but each of these sessions was 90 minutes, and that's how it broke down. They also made sure that in all these exercises, specifically the plyometric exercises, that they weren't just training two-footed, but that they were also training one-footed. So they would train the right foot specifically, then the left foot, and then both the feet together. So just to note that as well. The article that I have linked in the description will also have the specific exercises that they put the girls through. So if you wanted to check that out, feel free. But ultimately, what were the results? First, to get into that, I need to break down how they measured this, right? So they did a couple of things. One of the things that they did was that they used a 3D motion analysis tool to go back and look at how the girls were performing the exercises, how they were landing in plyometrics, things of that nature. I'll break that down in just a minute. But then the other thing that they did was that they measured their squat, their bench press, their single leg hop distance, their vertical jump, and their sprint speed. And so let me break down the results, right? So after 6 weeks, the squat strength on average was increased by 92%. The bench press was on average increased by 20%. The single leg hop distance increased by about 8 to 10 centimeters. Vertical jump improved by over 3 centimeters. And then the sprint speed got faster. It went from about 1.8 seconds on average to 1.73 seconds on average. And so this is pretty significant. Some of these numbers aren't that significant, but for the most part, it's very significant that that everything increased. I mean, this is a pretty big deal that going through a professional program, exercise program, can help athletes perform better. And what they also looked at as far as the biomechanics of each exercise and how the girls were performing it. Again, the end goal of this was to prevent ACL injury. So were the girls performing these exercises properly, and what did that look like? So like I said, they used this 3D motion analysis tool, and what they observed was that the girls were landing from jumps with more knee bend, which is a little bit more cushion, leading to less injury. And then there was also less inward and outward knee position when they were landing. Or when they were performing some of these exercises, which also would help to decrease ACL injuries, right? So with all that being said, the conclusion that they came to was that female athletes who train with a comprehensive neuromuscular training program designed for injury prevention can gain simultaneous performance enhancement and significant improvements in movement biomechanics. They also made sure to state that there was no scientific evidence to say that these girls would go on to win more games or win more matches in their respective sports, but this definitely led to less injury and higher performance. So the two questions that you asked us was, what was the purpose of the main topic of the article? I feel like I've covered that pretty sufficiently. And then how is the biomechanics important in this article? And ultimately, I think I've covered that as well. But the idea behind this article and behind this study was to prevent injury, prevent specifically ACL injury by focusing on the movements and focusing on the biomechanics of these movements and of these exercises and how it can help athletes perform at a higher level and not be so injury prone. So anyway, that was my article. If you have any more questions, please let me know. But anyway, thank you so much. Have a good rest of your night.